My name is Tracie Davis, and I teach first grade at Hazard Independent. I wanted to tell a little bit of my story. My innovation person thought you might want to hear this. But anyway, I taught first grade the whole 90s decade. So think about that for a second. And then I decided that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and everything worked together. So I ended up staying at home for a long time. I was out of teaching for 17 years. So last year was my first year back, and wow, things have really changed. The kids haven't changed. That's the thing. It's technology has changed. So I wanted to embrace technology, even though I'm not the best at it. But I know that through 21st century learning and all the things that kids need in our world today, that we have to embrace it, and we have to, because they already have. And I'm just trying to keep up with them. So I teach at Hazard Independent, and, we're an independent school, so we don't have a lot of money, and we don't have a lot of technology. So last year, we have a reading race in our school, and I wanted to win. I wanted to win it. I am very competitive. And my kids last year, we struggled. We struggled with reading. Our MAP scores were in the bottom. And we struggled. But I said, we're going to win it. And I told them we were going to win it. And so I went and borrowed and begged, and a couple of days I stole some iPads. It's really true. And we did AR. It's all about the accelerated reading. And I watched them flourish. They were going, I read this book. I want to take a test. I read this book. My struggling readers were just reading everything they could get their hands on so they could take those tests. So when Vivian, my coordinator, said, you need to write one of those ARI grants, I went, well, I will, because I'm competitive. And I do those sorts of things. So I decided that I wanted my own iPads that I didn't have to go steal. And so I decided to do literature circles in my room, because another thing, if anybody teaches elementary in here, we have to use these basils that I'm thankful that we have them. I know they cost a lot of money. And I know all that. I've heard it all from the 90s and from now. That's one thing that hasn't changed. But I had to use these basils, and even though I have to, I want to throw in some real literature in my room. I want real books. And I thought, I could ask for book sets, but that's only going to take me so far. I want iPads. I want to be able to get any book I want. I want us to be able to do a book project on any book that we can look up on an iPad. And those kids, I'm trying to foster independence in my room. I started the Daily 5. I'm trying to catch up. I have been out a long time, so I'm catching up fast. And so literature circles, I don't know if you're familiar with them. I do have some handouts, but not enough. I only made 20. But anyway, my question for my grant was, will my first grade students' collaboration and communication skills improve with the inclusion of literature circles in my instruction? So basically, you get a group of students, and you pick a book, and then you assign roles to your students. There are roles such as Word Wizard, where you have to, and they each have a task. Each student has a task. So they might be the Word Wizard. They have to go through and find 3 new interesting words that they've never seen or read or heard before. And we might look up the definition. We might use it in a sentence. Another role is before we start reading, we do a story impression, where I might just take that book, the cover of the book, and I might get just words from the story, and they have to tell me what they think that story is about. So we're predicting before we read, which is a very important skill, for first graders, is to predict and then see if their predictions were correct and how that goes into their reading. We also do story maps, where we map out the story. We talk about characters, setting, beginning, middle, and end. We talk about fluency. We talk about everything. we also do book talks where the student talks through the book, and as a group we talk and we say, oh well, I thought this was interesting, or I thought this was interesting. So suddenly my little first grade students are going, well, I really liked the way that their character, and I mean, so I saw this in action this summer, and this was my idea that I wanted to do. I did our map scores this fall. We just took our map scores, and I want to compare those when I see you guys in April again. And we are 33% novice right now. My class is. We are 30% apprentice, 29% proficient, and 9% distinguished. So I want to see if putting these literature circles into my reading time, I won't do it every day, I'll do it a couple of days a week, how that improves my map scores. I'm also going to do some surveys with my first graders if they prefer the Basil over the real literature, and what the differences are and how that applies to their real life, and how they can go and take that out into the real world, because that is what we're trying to do. We're trying to get even the youngest kids to take what they can from literature and books and apply it to their real life. And they already apply the tablets to their real life. They're better than I am. I have to go, hey, can you help me? I mean, they help me all the time with the iPads. So I'm so thankful for this grant, and I'm shocked really that I got one, but I'm so happy, and I am going to use it to my best ability. And is there anything else I left out? I think that's all. Does anybody have any questions? Well, I wanted 4. I got 3, but I'm still big borrowing and stealing. I'm still working on that. It's a start. I also did a Donors Choose this summer because somebody told me about that. I'm catching up still. So I did get my project funded. I have 2 Chromebooks in my room as well. And I want to try that versus the iPads. I think the iPads, for the little kids, they're used to them and their touch. And I think that they have an easier time with that. And any other questions? Well, we're just listening now. I just got my iPads this week. So I plan on just trying to find sites where I can use books for free and use those. And listen, I'm old school, so I love a real book as well. I love it, but it's just, I thought this was more sustainable, and I thought we would have a wider variety to pick from. And I'm also the +1 teacher for my school for the Kentucky Reading Project. So I did that for 7 days this summer, and they showed us all these awesome books. We did books all for 7 days, and it just really got me, it really encouraged me to embrace literature into my classroom as much as I can. And I think that the kids, will take that away. Plus, I'm going to use them for virtual field trips. And, we live in southeastern Kentucky. A lot of our kids, they don't have access to a lot of things. So I thought that these iPads could not only help us with our literature circles, but the world, for true 21st century learning. That's what I'm hoping for. Am I out of time? I can't believe I used all that time. You can do it. You can do it.